Okay, that should be recording. Okay, so welcome everyone to the Wellness Consultation tonight. So just to remind you of the accountability from last week, if you haven't watched the How to Close by Teresa Harding, I really recommend it. She's a brilliant teacher. She's got a lovely manner about her, but she's also quite a strong character, and she has some very good tips. Very good about psychology. You know, she's really good about that. And it was very interesting. When I first listened to it, I thought, wow, I'm going to do exactly like Teresa. And I did, and then it didn't quite fit for me, but I've definitely used parts of her thing. And I listen to it every now and again just to kind of, you know, think what other parts I'm going to implement. So it's definitely good to get some good tips, even if you don't do it exactly the same. And that's absolutely fine. Do it your own way, but with Teresa's tips. If you haven't already done your first class, then that was the homework, was to write a script to your first class and to practice it, so you could get confident about doing that. Fill your scheduled classes and then challenge yourself to book one class from each class you do. And that's a really good tip, because then you'll never run out of contacts. And that's what people, you know, people's main concerns are after their warm contact are used up, their warm network, is how they then get more contacts. So if you always book a class from a class or a couple of classes from classes, then you're laughing basically in this business. So that's a really key point. Okay, so on to the wellness consultation. It is so important. So in the intro to the business, we talk about the residual income and how doTERRA's is, you know, kind of smashes the others out of the water. It's so high, so 64% compared to the average of 13%. This is a lot higher, as you can see. And the main reason for this is, of course, the products. So the products are amazing. Now, in the wellness consultation, this is the part really where it's the most important part, where you actually get to confirm, to solidify this residual income. So teaching a class, of course, is important, all the sampling leading up to it, but the point where you really get to give people that personal belief in the oils and that personal touch, where they get to see that they want to make these oils more of a lifestyle rather than just a one-off purchase, is it all in the wellness consultation. So this percentage is really heavily dependent on people doing wellness consultations, because not many people go and independently rebuy. The wellness consultation is really vital. And I recommend doing it face-to-face if you can. So when you first start and you have less to do, then really try and make the effort, especially if they're local. Online, though, is also very good. I definitely recommend trying to see them. So if you can do something like this, you know, on Zoom or Skype, then that's much better than not being able to see them. So a phone call is the last really resort, and there are some people that really, that is their only thing that they're going to be able to do. Key point is definitely do it within the first 14 days of them signing up, and that will become more apparent as we go through the training. But you're probably all aware that once you've signed somebody up and they've enrolled, you have 14 days in which to move them. So you need to work out what they're going to be in your business, in your team, and what's going to be best for them. So the skills to master then. So to teach with confidence how to look up specific ailments using available resources. So you've got to know this yourself. So you must be confident at using the resources and looking up ailments and understanding, you know, the AMBER, the traffic light system in the Modern Essentials, and then the Essential Life book, if that's one they purchase, how you can look up ailments with that. So just be really, you know, confident about that and know how to do it so you can teach them. You need to have the basics of the back office. So you'll be listening to Nathan's back office training, and that will teach you all you need to know to teach someone else. You don't need to know everything about the back office. You definitely need to know the basics. And of course, you need to know how to process an order, whether it be a standard order or an LRP order. So again, you can teach this with confidence, and you really need to grasp the LRP. And that can take some time, to be honest. So really kind of go over that in your head, practice saying it, so that you can really teach that with confidence. Because a lot of people wanting to go on LRP is down to how you explain it and how clearly you explain it and how you can make it sound that it really does make sense for most people. So the resources you need are not many. So you need a book, I would suggest, or definitely the app. Perhaps a laptop. You definitely will need a laptop, actually, not perhaps. So I'm just thinking, if you're doing online, obviously you're going to be on your laptop. But if you're doing a face-to-face one, then at least one of you will need a laptop so you can actually go on to their account when you're doing the wellness consultation. I think it's much, much better to do that rather than just teach them about their account without them actually seeing it and without them physically going onto it. So I personally feel that it's a much more powerful wellness consultation if you take them onto their account, and even better that they do it themselves with you helping them and showing them their back office rather than yours, or even worse, just telling them about it. I think lots of people have blocks with computers, and unless you do it there and then, they might not ever go on and do it themselves because they might feel it's too much for them. The doTERRA welcome pack as well, that's important to have, and that comes free, with people's membership, so it's good that you have it as well. If you're going to do a face-to-face, it's not so imperative, although I would still take it along just in case they've misplaced theirs. But if you're doing an online wellness consultation, then it's definitely something you want to have. And optional resources, I would strongly recommend, I think I'm going to sneeze, no, I'm not. I'd strongly recommend having either of these, because this really helps when you're talking about LRP as well. And in the class, I think, we rush through this part, but actually the supplement is a very strong product that doTERRA do. And I encourage you to learn a bit more about the supplements. You can actually just go onto the doTERRA.com on the doTERRA tools section and learn about the Lifelong Vitality Pack. And it tells you why this supplement pack is so unique and what makes it really quite incredible. And so if you can, use it yourself, so you have your own testimonial of this, because this is something that, I think most people could really benefit from. Now, there's another resource. I don't know if you've heard of Edge Success. It's some materials that are produced by another team in America, Seth and Rod. And they've produced some really, really good materials, actually. I do think these are better than what doTERRA give us for free. I generally haven't used these, so they do kind of a membership overview one, so for the wellness consultation, and they do a business overview. I've just realised I'm not even doing this as a proper slideshow. Here we go, looks better. So this, yes, you can see that a bit more clearly, sorry about that. So they are better, so you can, buy these, and you can probably get them from Essential Oil Supplies. I got mine from Essent Oils, but that's sometimes out of stock. And I did occasionally use it, but I generally like to keep things really duplicable and simple. And so because people get that pack for free, to keep costs down, I think they're sufficient enough because you can add in the rest. So what is the purpose of the wellness consultation for the new enrollee? Because this is important. Because like with everything with doTERRA, you really want to be thinking about the person, it's their journey and how we're helping them. And that always feels nice. So this is basically their chance to have a more personalised approach. So at the class, generally you don't have tons of time to speak to people. So this is great. You can advise them for specific elements. You don't need to go into tons of detail, and be careful not to get sucked in to being like a doctor here. You're not the doctor, and you're not a professional, but you have been using these essential oils for a couple of months, a couple of years. It all depends, it varies. But what you're there to do is to show them how to look up these elements in the book. So that's the key point here, is to empower them that they're going to get this personalized advice. So you'll be able to give them tips about how they can personally find out which oils are going to be good for their ailments. Just helping them, to be confident how to use the oils, to reminding them of that. We said that. And they're going to learn the basics of their account. So, lots of people are savvy, but it's good to show them the basics of their account. But also the thing they won't know is about the loyalty rewards program. So for everyone, they need to know about this. Again, it's just an option. But for most people, this is really going to help them get their oils for cheaper. So they're going to want to know this. And they don't want to be spending and not collecting points. So why is this also a very good use of your time? Because the wellness consultation, I guess, is one of the most time-consuming activities in doTERRA, because you can't mass wellness consult. I have known people to do that, and sometimes I have done that, especially if they know each other, and that's fine. But generally, we do these on a one-to-one basis, so it's definitely more time-consuming. But as I kind of mentioned at the beginning, it's the key activity that will lead to residual income in your business, so well worth the time investment. It also helps with these other things as well. So what you really want to, start as you mean to go on, is to help your customers to be independent of you. You don't want to be creating this situation where you are perceived as the expert and they're coming to you all the time with their questions. At the beginning, that might feel quite nice. It gives you a bit of confidence in yourself because they see you as being someone that they can ask these questions to, and that's quite a nice feeling. But trust me, after a while that wears off, and you don't want to be receiving texts all the time when they can just look them up themselves and be empowered. So this is when you're kind of helping them to take more control of their own healthcare. Also helping them to use their accounts, as we said, helping them to catch the vision of the doTERRA lifestyle. So that's also something that's important with the wellness consultation. So you can kind of grasp a bit more about doTERRA, because there's so much to try and grasp in the class. But that can help make them more loyal to doTERRA as well, and perhaps also get over any price blocks they might have as well, to be able to trust doTERRA. And also, of course, you're creating a bit of rapport with yourself and the user, again, developing that trust. And doTERRA really is about relationships with people. So they've obviously trusted you enough to purchase something, which in itself is very complimentary to you. But now you're kind of building upon that relationship and making it deeper and helping them to trust you more to be able to really invest more in these products. And then, of course, you want to deduce whether they're going to be a user share or a builder, so that you can place them appropriately. And also, it said on there whether they're going to host a wellness consultation is a really good time to find that out. So here's a step-by-step wellness consultation, and you can do it in different orders, and I do, to be honest, I do it in slightly different orders. Once you get into them, you'll shape it up a bit. It doesn't have to be this way exactly. But first of all, you definitely want to check they've received their oils, and you probably, to be honest, will do this before you've even come to this point of the wellness consultation. But if you haven't, just touch base with them and make sure that they've received their oils and everything's okay and they were happy. Sometimes you might have to address the issue with, the home essentials kit. There's sometimes some disappointment that they don't come in a box. And I actually do try to remember to tell people this when I'm teaching a class, but sometimes I forget. And sometimes you'll have someone raise that point that it didn't come in a box, and then just apologize and say, but doTERRA do sell boxes that are very cheap, very affordable, and the lovely boxes. So then I would check to see if they've got a book or an app, because you probably told them at the class that they can do this. So I just check with them first of all. And if they haven't, then, you bring out yours, and you definitely will encourage them. And throughout this consultation, they'll see the logic in that and why they would need that. And then, if they may not have even opened their welcome pack, if they have, then you can just, still kind of introduce it really, and just try and find out what they have read about it. We kind of introduced the 3 booklets in there. So addressing the living, the sharing, and the building. And that's a great opportunity to just subtly mention the business side. So you can just say, tonight we're going to be focusing more on the living guide, or today. But, they can also, there's a very good business opportunity with doTERRA, and that's more in the sharing and building guide. Okay. So I generally will use the living guide just as a really quick recap. So the first couple of pages just go through what you taught about in the class. And this is important just to really just make sure that they got that, because you take, only a little bit of information in, and at a class there's so much information. So it's good to just go over the fact of what makes doTERRA different. So the CPTG, just go over that again and check if they haven't got any questions. And also, of course, the safety. So it's really important to mention to them and remind them that there are hot oils that you definitely wouldn't put on neat. But actually, when you first start using the oils, we recommend that they don't use them neat and that they start using them on the bottom of their feet. And then on the rest of the body, using it with some coconut oil first, and then a drop of the essential oil on top. And then they can just then work with their own body and go from there. But that's important. And just remind them not to get them in the eyes and to use a carrier oil rather than water. So that's just important. And then also, you might just want to give a real brief summary. You don't want to go into this in too much detail, else you'll be there for a long time. But if they have bought a family physicians or home essentials kit, I just like to quickly recap and just, well, first of all, I like to find out if they've been using them. And often they have, and sometimes they haven't, but often they have. So just kind of check what they've been using them for and have they had good experiences, and, just check all that stuff out as well. But then remind them of what each oil does. So the ones perhaps they may have forgotten about, just remind them what each oil does so that they're really, able to use them and get the most out of them. It's good at this point as well to explain the names for the blends. So what I mean by that is, you probably will notice that in the books and the app, you won't see a doTERRA blend name anywhere. And this is because doTERRA, because they're a natural medicine company, they can't be seen to be making claims that their oils, because they're selling the oils, are going to help with ailments. They can't be seen to link the two together because they're selling them. And so they can't produce documents with their name on, but also they have to make it general to all essential oil companies out there. So it can't be specific to doTERRA. So that's why you won't see the names of the blends. However, you will see respiratory blend or protective blend, which is the little name that's on the blends. So on each of your blend bottles, you'll see there's a sub kind of title, sub name. And that's where you'll see the words respiratory blend or protective blend. And it's good to point that out to people because that takes a while to kind of click. And you could send them a sheet with the blend names on, so that can be helpful for them. Or also I just tell people that if they get stuck, they can just Google and just type doTERRA, deep blue, and it will tell you what the blend name is that appears in the book. Really important to identify the customer services number, which is found on the back of the booklet, so that they can then, again, be independent. So they're not ringing you for any account issues or their order's gone astray or anything like that. They can go direct to customer services. So this is when you want to then address their specific health concerns. So if you haven't already asked them if they've started using the oils, then definitely approach this. And like I said, find out what they're using them for. But then you want to ask them, what else they're looking to use the essential oils for. And this can be for themselves, their family, friends even. So just, I wouldn't go through tons of elements because again, you're going to be there forever. But this is a time to kind of help them to feel confident to look them up. So maybe take 3 or 4 of their main things and start looking them up in the book and explain to them then how you don't need to use every single oil that's listed. And that, the wonderful thing about these essential oils is there are many essential oils that will help with the same thing, but some are more effective than others. And that's why the ones that are usually listed first are the ones that are most commonly effective on most people. So it's a good place to start. And usually it will be one of the oils in the home essentials or the family physician's kit. So it's a good point to then remind them that, that your purchase has been really good because as you can see, mostly one of those oils is kind of in the top 5 or 6 oils that are recommended. So I always tell people to start with that oil first. And then if they're not getting the kind of effect that they're hoping for, then that's when they need to start kind of creating their wish list and start adding to their collection and try perhaps the first oil on the list and write that down. So as we're looking up their ailments, we'll go through and I'll help create a wish list for them. So they can start accumulating oils that perhaps they'll want to get. And especially, if they want to address more emotional things, then they probably won't be in the physicians and home essentials kit. So things like that. And also, at this point, we'll talk about, the cleaning products a little bit. So say, for example, someone says to you, oh, I don't have any ailments, I just, just want the oils, but I don't really suffer from anything in particular. And then I usually say, well, that was kind of me when I first got them. I didn't really think I was going to use them actually that much. But it's surprising how when you get into them, how you do use them quite frequently. And so I explain how I use lemon pretty much every day to help cleanse my body, and say that that's something that everyone needs. We don't realize how many toxins we have in our body. And then how I use peppermint just to wake myself up, or other mood oils, so lavender, but perhaps when I'm just feeling a little bit stressed. And most people need an oil on an emotional level, at least probably a couple of times a week. I point those things out. But I also say that I use the lemon for cleaning, or for stains, or to kind of deodorize the toilets, that kind of thing, or smelly shoes, to give them some more practical things and tell them that they can find so many things on Pinterest, but also, in the books as well. So certainly in the Essential Life book, there's some good tips for how you can use them. Just if you, as a normal kind of person, if you don't have any particular ailments, and in cooking and things like that. And then it's good just to mention they have wonderful skincare and shampoo and conditioner, and that it's kind of a step at a time type thing. But they have some lovely products that available for everyone, and that they probably will find they'll be using the products quite a lot. So this is all kind of a build up to the Loyalty Rewards program to help them see why they would benefit from the Loyalty Rewards program. And that's great. And it's not just because we want the money, that's not the focus. It never is the focus. But it is because we're wanting to help change people's lives. And a one-off sale doesn't really do that. It doesn't make these people kind of change the way that they're viewing their healthcare and helping them to make the significant changes. So they probably won't use them that much, to be honest. So this is really about helping them to realize how they will be using these, and then it's a part of their life going forwards, and that's when they'll get the most benefits out of them. And if they can just step by step replace some of the toxins in their home, like the cleaners and stuff. So I do this as well. I kind of pick maybe one thing and just explain how you would use an oil for that particular ailment, just to kind of, remind them how to do that. And then, we create a wish list. So after you've kind of created a wish list, or if they haven't really got a wish list, but you've talked to them about the lemon and how there's different products, then I would say to them about the Loyalty Rewards program, about how this is a great way that they can actually save money on their purchases. So if they do have quite a big wish list, which sometimes does happen, then I'll say to them, look, I'm going to just show you something now where it teaches you how you can actually collect points as you spend. So it actually works out better to spread your desired oils, the things you want to buy, over a longer period of time. So you're buying something each month rather than mass buying everything in one go. So it helps people make changes over a period of time, so it's not too overwhelming either. But at the same time, they get to save money and collect points. So at this point, I think it's important to show them it visually. So we'll go to the end of the book. Sometimes I actually do this on their account, which you may or may not have seen on the back office. When you first go into the shop tab, in the right-hand side, there's a tab where you can click on Create an LRP, and you can actually view a PDF there. They have a handout that you can look on online, which is pretty much the same thing, but I generally use the Live Guide. So just to remind them about their wholesale account they've already got. So that's important to, almost congratulate them that they've got this account now where they can order at 25% off from then onwards. So they can now choose exactly when they want to buy, as and when they want to, and it doesn't have to come through you anymore, but they can order themselves. And that's an important detail to mention, because up to that point, you've done the ordering for them. So people like to know that it's their account now. But then you kind of go on and tell them about LRP is the most cost-effective way, and you're going to explain why. And it's good to kind of refer to Tesco Club Card or Boots Card or something, so that basically if you spend something every month, and you can then kind of set in a very natural way that, you know, even a lemon, you know, most people go through a lemon every month. You know, you're going to be cleaning with it and drinking it every day. So one drop in your water, you're going to want a lemon. So, you know, most people want to add a bit more to their collection each month. Even if you're going to get a lemon, it's best to go on the loyalty rewards program, and then you can start collecting points. So at this point, it's good to explain the PV. So I say, so basically with every product, there's a PV value, and the PV value is usually 1 PV equals $1. So it's higher than the pound equivalent. And this will help you when we're talking about loyalty rewards, the points. So I'll then talk about the qualification. And remember, in a second, we're going to see it on the slide that, here we go, I'll go to this, because this is what you'll be explaining it while they're looking at this, which makes it so much easier. But you'll say, so basically to qualify for a loyalty rewards point system is every month that you spend £38, which is 50 PV, it's about £38 worth of products, you'll actually collect points, and you'll get those points back in your account that will accumulate, and you can then use those points to purchase whatever you want to. So it really helps to make the products even more affordable. And if you're going to be doing it anyway, it's definitely the smartest way to do it, rather than just to purchase oils and not get anything for it. So I say when you first start doing the loyalty rewards program, you actually get 10% back every time you spend 50 points or more on the products. Then after 4 months, so month 4, this goes up to 15%, and then 20%, 25, until after 13 months, where you've just spent something, you know, small each month, a couple of oils each month, which you're adding to your own collection anyway and building up your collection of anything that you want, you will then be on 30%, where you're going to get 30% back in points every time you spend 50 PV or more, which is a significant amount. And so it's a really, really smart way of getting your products. So just seeing if there's anything, yeah. So also we worked out this, you know, they'll be getting these points back, and so they'd also have earned about £100 of free products along the way from that. So just by purchasing the oils through the LRP system, they'll earn, you know, £100 worth of free products, which is really good. And, you know, not doing anything, but just rather than buying it all in one go, spreading it out over some months. So here's a PV chart, and this is in the Live Guide as well. So you can just explain this to them. So you can also say that you don't have to spend 50 PV each month. So there might be some months where you really don't want to get anything big. And so all you need to do is just spend something very small just to maintain your points. So it doesn't need to be 50 PV. It can actually be the smallest item, which is a lip balm, and that will maintain your points. But every time you spend 50 PV, you actually qualify then to get points, and you go up in the month progression chart. And this is also a good time just to mention, you know, the 100 PV, that's, you know, just throw it in really, that's more for business. So everyone who's doing the business will be spending 100 PV, and then that qualifies them to get commissions. But that's more business. And then lots of people do like to take advantage of the free product of the month. So every single month, Nutella will do a free product, and if you spend 125 PV or more before the 15th of the month, you will qualify for the free product as well. So on top of you getting points for what you're spending, you're going to get a free product, absolutely free. And I don't bother going into the 150. Okay. Then I'll just kind of mention the sharing guide and just say, you know, the sharing guide I won't really go into today, but lots of people like to share the oils with their family and friends. So this just teaches you a little bit about how you can host a class, and then you can ask them then. I generally kind of do it more at the end. So I kind of talk about the business, and then I'll talk about the hosting as well at the same time, but you could do it separately. So just it's a great time to ask them if they'd like to host a class. You know, just asking, you might even come across it when they were listing ailments and things that their families and friends have. Then that would be a great time to just say, well, do you know what, I'd be very happy to come and teach a class if you think they would like to come and find out for themselves how to use these oils effectively. But definitely mention about hosting. And depending on having in your head what you're going to offer for hosting, whether it's going to be a gift or an aroma touch massage, have that in your head so you can kind of say it when you're suggesting it to them. But definitely say they're hosting a class, I'll just, all you need to do is just provide the guests, you just invite your friends and we'll come and do the rest. We can have just a lovely evening where I can share about these oils with your friends and family. So then I will then briefly explain the doTERRA business opportunity. Now again, this won't necessarily be the order that I do it in. I might show them their account first of all. But just do whatever feels natural. But I'll say, in the business guide, this talks about the business opportunity. And as you've seen, these oils are very different to ones you just buy off the shelf. So you do need to have education with them. So this basically, with doTERRA's products, is very unique. So doTERRA don't spend a lot of money on marketing, which means they can actually reward us and anyone who wants to share these oils with, family, friends, or anybody. And so you can do this on a very small scale where you're just going to cover the cost of your oils, or you can also do it on a larger scale where you can literally replace your income and more. There's great opportunities with this business. So, that's a discussion for another time, but if you'd like to understand a little bit about how you can make money with doTERRA, even just to cover your oils, then we can set that up. And is that something you'd be interested in? And I just kind of say it like that, very matter of fact, matter of factly, whatever. I just say it like that. And then lots of people are like, yeah, okay. And then they're usually trying to get into a conversation there. And I'll go into the conversation a little bit with them, but I'll generally then set up a time when we can chat about that. And I can send them a little bit of information in between. But don't be scared to just raise it, because the builder booklet's right there in front of them. So it kind of makes sense to address it. Okay, so then you'd go onto the account. So like I said, I think it's much better to go onto the account with them there and then if you're in person, or you can share your screen as we're doing right now and go onto their account with them so they can actually see it happening, and then any blocks will become unblocked when they see it. So the main things to point out to them is that, you enter in on the shop tab and you'll see the advert as soon as you come in. And that will kind of tell them what's going on in doTERRA, because even people who are just users like to know a little bit about that, and they're welcome to come to attend these events as well. And also show them where it says the percentage off of different products for that month, and also the free product of the month as well. So that's a good thing to show them. Also show them their website. So even people that aren't interested in the business at all, it's good to let them know and be aware that they have their own website, just in case, somebody does want to just purchase the one-off oil, then you can just say to them, if you go on the website, then you'll make 25% of that. And that can even just sow a seed about the business, which they might come back to you at a later stage. So show them their website. And you can see that on the top of the back office and the tabs, it says my website. So it's very easy to find. And then you want to just show them how to browse for products. So just take them all through that, how you would place a standard order, but then go and show them the LRP. So I just briefly kind of show them how to browse for products and say, so you can just do this if you're going to do a standard order. But as we spoke about before, the best way is definitely through the LRP. And we can, set it up now if you'd like to, and you just click on to the create the LRP, and you can talk them through that there and then. And quite a few people like you to set it up, for them, so they don't have the hassle of doing it. And this is when you ask them when they want you to set the date up for them. And you just remind them that it's best to set it up before the 15th, just because one month, maybe at Christmas time, they set, and you might go over the 125 PV, if not before. And so it'd be terrible not to benefit from the free product of the month. At this point, so you'll go and do that with them, and then you'll show them how they can edit the date, and they can edit their credit card details, they can edit their address. So just show them those simple things so that they know that they can change the date whenever they want to, and the other things as well. And then, so if they want you to set up an LRP then we usually just put like a couple of products in that they can add to later. And then it's good to kind of point out to them then that they can edit this and change their loyalty rewards program up to 24 hours before the LRP is due to come out. And tell them that they will get an email reminder from doTERRA telling them that their doTERRA orders are going to be processed within the next couple of days. So that gives them a warning to go and edit their LRP. But yes, so tell them that they need to remember to edit it, and also that they can't take out everything from their basket. So they need to always have one thing in their basket when they're editing it. That's just something that's come up a few times. Yeah, so they're the main things you just want to show them. But at the same time, you don't want to overwhelm them with too much information. So tell them that they can contact customer services if they get stuck as well. But it's just really an automated shopping system where every single month they're going to have an order placed that they can just go in and edit. So it's really easy. Their credit card's all set up for them. It's just going to get shipped to their address, the same date, unless they change it. They just have to go in and edit it to whatever they like. Okay, the other thing that you'll want to just show them about the LRP is where they can see how many points they've got. So the other tab you'll want to go onto is the dashboard, because this is where it shows them the percentage that they're on and also how many points they've collected. Now, it's important to note that people can't collect LRP in their first order. So in their very first purchase, people cannot get points for that. So they'll start collecting points from the second month of purchasing, which will be their first LRP order. But the points are delayed by a month. So that's also important just to tell people. So they'll start seeing the points in the third month. So they can always see that. I think I've covered all this. Yeah. Okay, so you've covered the oils, you've gone through some elements, you've helped them to feel empowered that they can actually look these elements up themselves. You've taught them about how to use their account and how to get the best out of their account for the LRP program. You've mentioned hosting, you've mentioned the business, so you've tried to suss out whether they're going to be a user, sharer or builder. And it is hard. I know it's really hard because not many people jump in straight away and go, oh, I want to do the business. Yes, this is definitely what I want to do. They might more and ah, but at least if they're showing some kind of inclination, I would then try and get that business meeting booked in within the 14 days as well. So that's why as early as you can do the wellness consultation, the better, especially with potential business people, because then you have time to do the wellness consultation, mention the business, and then set up an appointment within the 14 days about the business as well. And again, as soon as you can, because people can ponder it for a couple of days, of course. So, this will just help your chances. But a lot of time it is a bit of, not guesswork, but it is, you use as many clues as you can to kind of make the best judgment of where to place them. But you're going to want to then invite them to some support networks as well for them. So it's good to tell them about the Facebook pages and, people on here, you're on different teams. You might have your own team Facebook page as well that you want to invite them to. Again, perhaps don't invite them to all of them because that's a bit too much. And certainly the Cleanse and Restore is very specific. So only for those that have bought a Cleanse and Restore kit. But it's good for you guys, and if you're not aware, to be aware that is a Facebook group you can invite people to if they're doing the Cleanse and Restore with doTERRA. And then that's Becky's Building Show Gifts of the Earth. The Silver Blossom one is our one, so that's for our team. And then, you might have your own team one. And then the Family Physicians Kit it is good. Or I generally just invite people to the Essential Gifts of the Earth, to be honest, for the oils, just they have a network where they can ask questions. Then you definitely want to tell them about the future classes, because if they're not sold on LRP at this point and they can't see where they're going to use the essential oils in the future, then this is where the continued education classes come into their own. And this is where they'll be able to see different uses and get inspired and the different ways you can use the essential oils. So definitely invite them. We'll tell them about them. And if you know when the next ones are, then invite them to it. And also, this is something that I didn't used to do at the beginning, but I found is really good, and not everyone accepts this, but definitely, again, offer it as if it becomes part of the customer services that you're offering. So again, part of their free, part of their, for their membership, they don't only get this membership overview, but they also get 2 10-minute phone calls. So they get a personal consultant basically that helps them for 3 months, and that's you. So you are the personal consultant. And so if you can there and then book in a 10-minute phone call, so don't scare them off with another hour thing, but just make it very clear. It's just a quick 10-minute phone call, a month later, when you can just check in with them and just answer any questions that could have arisen when they've started using the oils. Because often, after a few weeks is when questions come up. But also it's a good opportunity to then address things like hosting again, the business, and you might not need to even say anything, because if you planted the seed, then they might mention that, once they've got used to using the oils. And again, remind them of continued education classes. That's kind of the reason. Just make sure I've covered everything there. Advanced classes. Yeah, and also, referrals for the business. That's something I forgot to mention. Or the class, not everyone's going to be into this as a business, but some people might know other people that are. So again, you can just ask if you feel comfortable with that, if you've built that relationship, whether you can then say, is there anyone else that is into natural medicine and could be looking for a business like this? I'd love to get in touch with them. So anything like that. I know our uplines from America, they do that a lot. So Elise Shedovy, she does that a lot, and she's a business finder is what she is. She finds business people, and that's one of the things she does is asks her already contacts, whether they're friends or just contacts she's met through the doTERRA classes, for referrals. Excuse me, my throat's bad tonight. So your homework for this week, if you choose to accept it, is to learn the LRP. So learn it inside and out so you can teach it confidently and naturally. And, try not to have any preconceptions about it, about people not wanting to do it, even if no one you've shared with has wanted to go into LRP. It's a really good program, and lots of people absolutely love it. And find it a no-brainer really, because if they love the products and they're going to be using these products, they're going to need to replace these products. So rather than doing it in big batches, yes, but they're going to get that if you just explain it to them. So like with everything in doTERRA, you're just educating them and they can make the choice. So there's no pushiness. Carry out awareness consultations then with all who need it. And for anyone that's been signed up, so enrolled for more than a month, if you contact them and just do a customer service call, just to see how they're getting on, because you probably haven't booked in that month follow-up call. And if you do work with your people, closely for over 3 months, and that's just those 10-minute calls, that will make such a difference to helping them become a solid customer. So again, it's well worth it. Okay, and that's the end. So I'm just going to see if I've got any questions. Should make it full screen. Yes, Caroline, thank you. Have I caught the sun? Yeah, do look like I've caught the sun. Yeah, sorry about that, not making it full screen early enough. Am I alone on here? No, you're not alone. There's 25 people on here. Laura. Does anyone have any questions at all about the wellness consultation? Hello, Teresa. Did that all make sense? Any comments? Anything that anyone else has found really useful that I haven't mentioned? Feel free to add anything. Oh. Yeah, weird. There's a few people that can only write to panelists. So Laura's just to panelists. I don't know how to change that to everyone. I mean, I can change mine to everyone or to panelists. I'm assuming you've tried to do that, Annalie. Have you gone to this little tab at the bottom of the chat where it says to, and you can change it to everyone or panelists? That's what I can do. So that's the only thing I know to suggest. Other than that, I don't know. Persevere to book the consultations. Yes. Yes, is someone saying they're finding it hard to book them? I do find it's so good if you can get the consultations booked in at the class itself. So as soon as someone's bought a kit, if you book in the consultation there and then, so if you have your diary on you, that's so much easier than trying to chase people. It really can be difficult to chase people. I totally understand. You know, I've had a few people I haven't been able to get hold of. but do, as Teresa's saying, persevere, because it's so worth it if you can get hold of them. Yep, so Annalie has tried to. I don't know, Annalie. Maybe I can click on panelists and change it for you. I can't. Oh, I'm going to stop recording.